The One Ring Kickstarter campaign is coming to a close with over 16,000 backers pledging, and with 30 stretch goals unlocked that have added content, product improvements, and additions, and even a solo Strider mode to play this game. We're here to celebrate the campaign. We're here to answer any last-minute questions that you might have, and we'll also see if we can cross that $2 million US mark before this campaign is over. Stick around. We've got the team, some of the team behind the One Ring Kickstarter here to count down the final moments of this campaign. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Doug. Before we begin, I just want to ask that if you are joining us for the first time, or if you have not already done so, please hit that subscribe button down below. That way you'll be alerted every single time we upload new content or add new or go live. You'll also be able to keep updated with all things Free League, and especially the One Ring Kickstarter, that the product line that we're doing with this Kickstarter. Also, if you are a big fan of the One Ring, please hit that like button down below and share this video with anybody that you might think would be interested in this. Now, without further ado, let's bring on the team that is joining us today. My co-host, Anna Westerling, the events manager for Free League Publishing, and of course, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Francesco.
Don't exaggerate.
No, come on. Thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations. This is a big moment. We're going to, we'll show the screen here. Let's just, this is just insane to think about, that this is happening and it's just coming to a close. Let's show here. We're so close to $2 million for funding. This is just amazing. What are your thoughts as this? What are your thoughts as this wrap is coming to a close?
Well, yeah, I already said that we're beyond anything of any expectations that we had when we started this, and I mean, we are in the top most funded tabletop role-playing games ever on Kickstarter. If you only consider original games, we are the top game there, because we only have on top of us a supplement for 5e. So it's something that, I mean, not even in my most optimistical projections I could have imagined that. I think I said that already. My goal was to do at least as much as another project by the top funding project from Free League, because I wanted, to give something back to the company. I mean, it's not only to them, of course, but to make the project worthwhile for them. And we went so much beyond that. It's almost embarrassing to be here. And of course, it's not that people is giving us free money. I mean, it's a big number of backers, and we will have to deliver a staggering amount of product. But yeah, that's something that normally you achieve that level of success, possibly at least in a year, probably more. If I remember the success of first edition, that was a slow burner. The first edition of the game didn't sell immediately well. It built up its audience in a while. I think we made that number of copies in probably 4 or 5 years. So,
wow.
So yes, it was a different time. I mean, role-playing games were not as popular again as today. We might be living in a sort of bubble right now, because we're also in the middle of a pandemic, and the pandemic,
it's true,
among the million of negative side effects, possibly has a positive one as far as games are concerned, because people is rediscovering the joy of meeting people online and playing games face to face through Zoom and stuff like that. And role-playing games are just the perfect medium to do that. So in any case, I mean, I'm really without any other words to say how grateful I am for this. We worked hard for this. And also, I think we made all the right moves to get to this point, meaning that we found the right people and the right company. But that's simply so great. It's impossible to just justify it in any way. We have probably the best group of fans that you can ever imagine.
So how will you celebrate tonight, or will you celebrate?
I'm already drinking wine. It's
in a plastic cup.
Yeah, in a plastic cup, because I'm in my studio, so I don't have, fancy glasses around, but I will have to drink again when I go home to properly celebrate. But yes, I don't know, there will be time. I mean, the amount, the success we have justifies a prolonged celebration. It's like second breakfast, third breakfast for Hobbits. We will have different moments of celebration in the next few days.
But then there's a lot of work, I'm guessing, to actually, like, now you have the good stuff, you have the money. Will there be a lot of work the coming month to deliver all this you promised, all the awesome sauce that people are waiting for?
Yeah, I think we were quite honest with what we promised during the Kickstarter. I mean, we didn't came up with, we didn't fall prey to the dragon sickness and just say, put everything in there and just promise the impossible. So part of the stuff that we promised existed already in one form or another. Maybe it existed already in first edition, so it needs to be revised. I'm thinking, for example, of the Eye of Sauron rules that we promised. They were not projected to be in the core, and they will be in the core, but it's a matter of repurposing them to the new rules. Some of it didn't exist, like the nameless things rules that we added, but those are similar to something that we did before with rules for creating dragons in first edition. So again, we're not trying to invent something that is completely off what we did before. Some of it is production, so it will be for the company to handle, but it's not. We didn't think of anything that was too complicated. Possibly the only thing that will need more work is the Strider mode that a lot of people was really happy to unlock at 15 million Swedish krona, but because that needs to be created from scratch. But Free League was so Martin Takaichi was so good in proposing to get in touch with the creators of Iron Sword, a very good role-playing game that already uses a similar approach to solo gaming, and we will design those rules with them. So it will be them designing the rules with me as the One Ring consultant. So yeah, we have the assets and the resources now to do that. So it's going to be something we have as our first goal right now to just deliver the stuff that we promised in time, because we see that people is eager to get their hands on the game.
So come Christmas, if production doesn't mess up, you will be able to play the One Ring.
Yeah. Well, luckily, since role-playing games can be readily played out of a PDF, you will be able to play that much earlier, because as following the tradition of Free League, we will deliver a beta version of the game this summer, and so people will be able to see what we have been up to until now much earlier than November. November at the end of the year is the deadline for the physical material, so you'll be able to play much earlier than that.
Yes.
Let's see here. We've got a question from Bo. It says, will there be a deadline for the pledge manager? And how much time will we have before I need to commit money for additional add-ons and so on? I know that there will be a pledge manager. We don't really have a time frame yet for that. I'm assuming, Francesco, is that correct?
Well, I don't have an idea of that. I've seen that we're using BackerKit to do that. So I think I think that Free League will open the possibility of adding late pledges as soon as possible. So there should be a possibility to get on the game for a while. I don't have an idea, unfortunately, exactly for how long. Wow, we are at 1,999,000. Sorry,
that's all right. We're like $500 away from $2 million US.
But I'm like, do you have like a nice graphic you can run if and when?
I wish I did. I don't. I'm trying to think if I've got anything on hand. I should have prepared that.
No, that's enough. I mean, it might be too much for for my capability to resist, to the emotion. If we had anything more than that, I mean, I was telling you before we went online that it's like it's been scripted because it's really a countdown in the last minutes. So it's couldn't be more choreographic than this.
Very well planned.
Yes.
Oh, we're so close. We're gonna hit it.
Oh, yeah, but there's also been
$80.
Oh my God!
$70 to go.
Oh, we did it! Boo, boo, boo.
Wow, there was an explosion.
There we go. We got a little bit of love on the screen there for everyone. Thank you so much. 2 million. Oh my gosh. That's crazy to think about.
I need a drink.
Yeah. Will you
Sorry
sleep
for the plastic cup.
Yeah. Will you sleep well tonight with this? You will like, I have done, because there's also been a lot of work for you with this, and like you've been in interviews and so on. So now
Yes.
resting.
Well, there was a rush in the last month. I've been constantly working on this in the last couple of years, but luckily, a second edition of the game was previewed already 2 years ago. So a good part of the work was done at the time. And also we're talking about the second edition of an existing game. So it's not that we were rewriting everything. But then a lot of things happened, some bad things and some good things, but everything led to a fantastic thing, that the one that we're witnessing now. And so, I mean, I can't complain, but and also the stretch of time was so long that it enabled me to give the game a good look with with different eyes, and just to evaluate everything. I had some fantastic collaborators, my co-designer Marco Maggi and Michele Garbuggio, who's a fantastic rules developer who worked on this especially earlier this year, But at the same time, I was able to continue with the rest. I mean, as almost every game designer knows, when you work on games, you work on many different things on parallel. And yeah, a lot of things happened in 2020 and 2021 now that it's difficult to describe, because apart from establishing this fantastic relationship with Free League, we also started working with Simon, that is one of the biggest companies there that there are in games. So so yeah, I have to probably, I don't know, thank some hidden god or for what's happening. But yeah, I don't know. They say that good things come to those who wait, or maybe deserve it. I don't know. I think I try to do everything I do as best as I can. So I think that's I never think about making something in a shorter time or making something for a bigger market punch or something like that. I try to do games that I like. I try to do games that I can say I'm proud of them, and really the One Ring is possibly the best example of that. It's really a work of passion. So,
and I think I think that definitely comes through, and in the community, really appreciates that, because we were saying, before we went live, there's a lot of games out there that with big IPs attached to them that don't have this kind of following, because they are what they are. They're good, but this definitely, you can feel, has the love put behind it, that and the community just responds truly well for that.
Tolkien fans can consider themselves lucky for one thing, because differently from other big IPs, the license is handled, the license for adventure gaming, not for the whole world of gaming, but for the biggest part of it, for what you see for board games and adventure games like the One Ring, is handled by Sophisticated Games. And Sophisticated Games has never been a company trying to exploit their position of power, handling such a big IP in a way where how many companies do. Like, they try to continually sever contracts with previous licensors because they want to make a new contract and stuff like that. They really cultivate their relationship with companies, and in this case, it's Free League with them. And so we always had the time to develop the best game possible. It happened already with them with War of the Ring. War of the Ring, it's our strategy game, the best-selling game that we have. It's a huge big box game with figures, and that has been on sale since 2004, and we never had any problems with the licensor. We never had any pressure from them. We made also in that case the best game possible, and I mean, it's been on sale. It's been selling since 2004 by the tens of thousands. So it must be somewhat good. and the same is happening with the One Ring. Sometimes with other IP owners, it just you don't have the time to develop a good game, because you have a window of opportunity that is very short. You know that someday you will lose that license. So you have to get the game on the shelves as soon as possible. So that's why many licensed games simply suck. Not because the designers were not able to do a good game, but because they didn't have the time to do it.
Right.
And luckily, Tolkien fans don't have this problem, because Sophisticated Games and Middle-earth Enterprises gave us the opportunity to do them well. So...
And looks like we've got another addition to our celebration. Martin, thank you so much for joining us. And I don't know if you caught it, but you now have crossed the $2 million mark on Kickstarter.
Really? I haven't really. I just, again, kids put to sleep. But there we go.
And it's still going.
We've been celebrating, and Francesco is drinking wine. So how are you celebrating?
Yes.
Besides putting your kids to bed.
Besides doing the parenting thing.
I should run off to the fridge and get something. Yeah. So I heard Francesco saying something about the War of the Ring being kind of good.
Yes.
Well,
it's good to have you here, Martin, because with your face popping up, I'm reminded of when everything started rolling, and when we met in Germany again, and when I came there, because I was just a fan. So
and so were we. It's like
so it's a good thing to be here now, basking in the glory of this.
It feels a bit like coming full circle. It's nice.
Yeah.
And also, of course, all the backs. I can see all the comments here. It's amazing. We have all of you to thank for this, really.
Absolutely.
The support you've shown for this is just
Oh
overwhelming.
yeah, yeah.
So much fun.
I
And just how much we'll be able to do with this. We're gonna make the One Ring for years and years to come.
Well, I have here one thing that I can show you just as an example of the dedication of the fans of the One Ring. And that it's something that I received very early on in the career of the One Ring First Edition, and I have it here because I wanted to show it to you. That this is a binded index for the One Ring First Edition that wasn't in the game. The game didn't have an index, so this fantastic fan of the game, James Brown, sent me his homemade index of the game. That he used all the graphics for the game to do it. He sent me a tear-jerking dedication that I won't ever lose this. And that was back in 2012. And this is something that never happened to me before. You never had someone do such a hard work. Indexes are something that designers never want to do because it's really, really boring. So James just did this. In fact, eventually, when we made a revised edition of the game, he made the index for that. But this is something that is really showing the dedication of our fans, and something that has been proven in a way that is impossible to mistake with the Kickstarter.
And he's apparently in the chat. He's saying you're making me cry in the chat.
Yeah.
Hi, James.
James has some family things he's attending to. Yeah, I kind of reached out to him late last night. Well, actually, it was like 2:00 this morning when I was up working on the projects, and I said, James, are you busy? Tomorrow, maybe you could swing in for a few moments. And he's like, I've got some family things. I wish I could, but we'll have to have James on at some point later on down the road. So if you'd like to see James on the show, please hit that subscribe. We'd love to have him featured as content later on as we're giving updates as the year rolls out. Martin, there was a question about shipping. I don't know if you can answer that. Are you able to answer that at all?
Let's see. Where can I see the question?
Well, it was asking about where the shipping was coming from because they were worried about import fees.
Yeah,
import taxes.
Yeah, it's always like depending on where in the world you are, of course. But we do ship from our hubs in the US and the UK, and I think we should be able to ship from Germany as well. And we're looking at other options for Asia and maybe Australia as well. So it's hopefully you shouldn't have. Well, again, depending on where you are. But there should be at least some hub reasonably close to you. But of course, there's always the risk of import fees. So we can't guarantee anything, but we're working as hard as we can to find different hubs to ship from.
Excellent.
Yeah, I also saw questions about the future, and maybe you're like, we've done this, we want to do what we promised. But I saw there was Moria and Gondor, and how is So can you say anything, or are you like, we're going to do what we promised, and then things normally happen?
Well,
yeah, that one could be probably a good answer, right? I don't know, Martin, if you want to add anything.
I think, that's pretty fair. We have, of course, loads and loads of ideas. There are so many options here available for us. We just need to figure out where to go from here. Of course, the next step we're going to explore Eriador a bit more, and we have Moria and stuff like that. But after that, it's like, well, we have some different ideas and options, but nothing nailed down yet. So, please let us know what you like to see, and we'll take it under consideration.
Oh, I'd like to just make a little nod to the people that is commenting on the streaming, because I see so many people there that made this game great, not simply because as players of the game, but there's writers that wrote for the game, and so everyone that contributed to hundreds of pages that have been published. before, and that possibly a number of them will also contribute to the game again. It seems we might have quite a long future in front of us, at least judging from the start. So yeah, so I mean, if I start thanking people, we wouldn't. We'll be here all night. It's a lot of people. Maybe I would just like to mention a few of them, like Gareth Hanrahan. Gareth Hanrahan, for example, because he's with us, also working on more material for the One Ring Second Edition. I mean, he's the designer for many adventures that were published before, and some of the supplements that are best. That are considered best, like the Darkening of Mirkwood. So yeah, we definitely will see him again because he has this fantastic way to bring Middle Earth to life with his writing. So he'll be with us again. But then there's other people that have contributed in many different ways. And creating the fan base. I will, of course, I cannot not mention John Hodgson, who was the art director for the previous edition of the game and one of the main illustrators and one of the main interpreters of the Spirit of the One Ring. So, and he made first edition what it was. And actually, possibly one of the reasons why we didn't have a second edition before, because he left the company. But yeah, that's a complicated story.
But also as a person who will likely do at least some contributions to the current edition, to the new edition.
Yeah, because John has so many talents; it's impossible to list them. And among his skill set is also he's also a writer, so he'll be writing some stuff for us. Now we all been so caught into this flurry of activity for preparing the Kickstarter and running the Kickstarter that we've been possibly a bit behind in following up with some people for long-term development of the project. But we will do. we will.
We'll have a little rest this weekend, and then we'll get back to work on Monday to really get things rolling.
Are you happy about that? You sound a bit like, will it be a lot of work Monday?
It's always a lot of work. I mean, we have different other projects as well, but I mean, it's going to be so much fun. Well, I mean, while this Kickstarter has been a lot of fun, it's also going to be good to just kind of like, okay, we're done that now. Thanks for all the support. Now we'll just dig in and really like work on the game. So yeah, that's going to be fun.
Yeah, we have a few calls to do and sitting down and check everything that has been done so far. Oh yeah, I didn't mention James Spann. James Spann, who's actually not contributing, but he wrote the vast majority of the starter set. So yeah, in our company Hobbit,
the American Hobbit for sure.
The American Hobbit. Yeah, it's interesting. It's funny to talk about work. I was thinking about this a little earlier before we started the streaming, because I had been working up to that point, up to 10 minutes before we went online, because it's hard to just stop when you are doing something that you like so much, that you really love. So yeah, I don't have weekends. I don't have. I don't remember a day off. But anyway, it's hard to complain. Hard to complain because we're doing something that is so close to your heart, and especially when something like this happens, when you see that what you're doing is so close not only to your heart but to the heart of other people. So yeah, really making it worthwhile.
But since you've been working with this for like a decade in different ways, do you ever get tired of Lord of the Rings, or do you find like, oh, now I found this new exciting little corner of the story that I didn't see before?
Yeah, that's got to be.
That's interesting because that's a question that Gareth Hanran made me once. He said, "Are you ever tired of just working on that?" Because a good percentage of what I do, at least especially at the time, was focused on the One Ring, on the Lord of the Rings. And well, I published my first game in 1993, and I published my first Tolkien game in 2004. From 2004 to today, I've been constantly working on something related to the Lord of the Rings. And while up to a couple of years ago, possibly it was the main focus, since a couple of years, it's not the same focus. Maybe, possibly, it's a good percentage, but as I said, I'm really lucky at having been called to work for a big company like Simon that is devoted to entertainment in 360 degrees. So I'm subjected to. I mean, I'm working on stuff that I can talk about, but it's everything is really exciting. And so I don't have anymore at all the problem of feeling too focused on the Lord of the Rings. But I don't think I would grow tired anyway, even if I was working only on that, because it's such a deep passion and deep thematic thing that you really can dig continually and deeper, and you still find something interesting to do. The problem is stopping from digging, because sometimes you have to get things done and finished, and sometimes you would still, but maybe there's a possibility to make this a little bit better. So now I haven't the problem of growing tired of that.
No. Have you found like a corner of the book or something that you're like, this is new, exciting, this is my favorite part, or this feels exciting, that you kind of brought in the role-playing game in some way, or like, I'm thinking the book.
It changes.
It changes? Mm-hmm.
It changes a bit, depends. I mean, my relationship with Tolkien is such a long one. I read it decades ago, but I think there are a couple of moments that are like very, very epic ones. So maybe I like them especially when I was younger. So the ride of the Rohirrim, and when King Theoden seems also shape-shifting into a god when he charges, and he leaves everything, his old age behind, and even the grass springs green in the front of the hooves of his horse. These are fantastic pieces, but I think the one that I like the most is the one that I like to quote also when people says about female characters not being prominent in the Lord of the Rings. And there's this fantastic exchange between Eowyn and Aragorn, and when she's trying to convince him to bring her with him, and he say no because he can't disobey King Theoden's orders, and she just crushes him because he can't find a decent excuse to say no, that isn't actually telling her, you're a woman and you have to stay home because we say so. And if you read that with this point of view in mind, it's really fantastic, because you just say, okay, you're just like the rest. And we're talking about Aragorn, the main guy there. I mean, the biggest example of the heroic type of character in the Lord of the Rings, and he's just making a very silly portrait of himself in front of Eowyn. So yeah, that's something that I really love to see. And it's not simply a female character acting as a male character. It's something that is deeply female there. So yeah, that's one of the things that I really like.
Cool. Of course, you hit the nerve, since I've always been a huge fan of Eowyn, and I was even a horse girl when I was a kid doing riding. So of course, so that brings me to the next question, because I asked before, like, where would you want to live? And everyone always say Shire, which is awesome. I'm of course a Rowan girl. Then where would you want to be if you lived in Middle Earth, Francesco?
Well, I could make a parallel with something that I wrote for the game, and I got inspiration for the city of Lake Town, Esgaroth, from my own town, Venice. Because even if Lake Town is very much a northern type of city, actually it is depicted in a way that is very close to a seafaring culture like the Venetians. So I based basically most of the description of Lake Town on the ancient part of my city and the traditions that you have there for building ships, even if I had to change completely the description of the techniques, because Northern Europe techniques for building ships are completely different from those in the Mediterranean. So, but yeah, I think that could be something, because it's like something that is very international in a way, because Lake Town is there on the very limit of a northern world bordering in the eastern world. So you have merchants and traders going east, so having contact with different cultures. So and also they are very close to the Dwarves and very close to the Elves. So it's a place that probably you would hear so many different languages being spoken at the same time. So that's a place that I would like to probably to live.
It sounds lovely. I'm looking at that now. If we have any audience questions,
I'm looking at. Let's just take a look here. There was a question about Adventures in Middle Earth. Are we? Can we give any information as far as that's as far as that comes?
We're still on the
still waiting on that. That's fine.
Yeah, we're still on the stage where it's like, yes, we're doing a 5e version of the One Ring, but we can't really say exactly when and the format. But hopefully sooner rather than later.
Okay.
That's like as close as we can get at this moment.
Sure.
But it's coming, yeah.
I know.
Well, one thing that we can confirm that Jacob Rogers is involved with that. Jacob is a well-known name from the One Ring and Adventures in Middle Earth in their previous incarnations, because again, as other contributors to the game, he was a fan first of the game, and then he came on board and started working with us. And Jacob will be handling firsthand the adaptation of the One Ring to 5e. So again, exactly what will be the new version of it, it's still there. We're still brainstorming, still having things to consider, but we're going there.
David makes a great point. I just realized that there are 1,300 people getting the standard cover and over 7,000 people getting the fancy limited edition cover. That I don't think I've ever seen a campaign that has that kind of discrepancy between the standard edition and the deluxe edition. And I'll be honest, I have a couple of the deluxe edition games from Free League, and man, those are cherished. Those aren't coming out of my hand. So I can't imagine that this is going to be anything less, and it's just going to be spectacular. And you can only get it through the Kickstarter. You're not going to be able to get it afterwards. Or we might have a few limited ones every once in a while through conventions or something.
Yeah, sometimes since I do conventions, sometimes I get to bring one, and people get to like touch it, and they're like, "Yeah, I should have brought it," and we're like, "Yeah, no."
So I'm just gonna remind folks that if you definitely want a limited edition cover, now is the time to pledge for it, because once it's gone, it's gone. You're not going to be able to. You'll have to track one down and pry one out of fans, out of people's hands, out of players' hands, in order to get a copy. So, yeah, that's
that's another thing that is very much a dream come true, because first edition never had a collector's edition. It was not that much of a big thing back at the time, but it's something that we several times discussed how we would like to have a limited edition, and we finally have it. And Christian Granat and Martin were very good in coming up with this red version of the book. Yeah, I'm generally, with many projects, I'm very much hands-on on things that happen. Me and Marco here, we discuss everything, and
There we go.
but it's so good when you don't have to, when you're not hands-on, and something so good comes out, and they just tell you, oh, we're doing this. Good. I love it when it happens.
Yeah. No, and I can say from the other end, it's so it's kind of gratifying when we have these ideas in the office, especially since for the visual look of the game, it was me and Martin Griep, the illustrator, and of course Christian Granat. And we were the three of us were talking through things, and of course, I mean, the rest of the Free League as well, but mostly us three tended to kind of end up being the core discussing the different looks of Lord of the Rings through the ages, basically, and also going back to romantic Viking arts from the 19th century, which is very much something Tolkien himself kind of was inspired by. So we went through all of this, and then we came to the conclusion that we should have something that felt more almost like an in-world artifact, slightly, the West Book, the Red Book of Westmarch, to kind of base it on that. So that we went from there, and I was like, yeah, what do you think of this? And we got a thumbs up. I was like, okay, good. This seems like we kind of have the same way of thinking of things, and so it's really nice when you feel like you're the whole team, and including Francesco, of course, we kind of have the same vision. So yeah, that's good.
So when okay.
Sebastian asks, speaking of tweaking, what's the current state of the rules? Mostly finished and just playtesting, or are there still areas that are not completely shaped completely for second edition?
No, everything is done. The thing is, I think that this is a sentiment that can be shared by every game designer out there. Game designers will tweak things until you pry the game out of their dead hands. So I've been listening very closely to what the company was saying, what the fans were saying over RPGNet and Discord and the Free Leagues forums and Facebook. And also YouTube, because there are some fantastic fans there making videos for the game and discussing rules. And so I try to be open to all that feedback, because it's already a good level of feedback, because it's informed feedback. I'm not talking about people saying if they like something or not, seeing it for the first time. I'm talking about longtime fans who have been discussing things that we told them that second edition will have. And so we went back and forth to thinking that something was close to reopen it and tweak it a little bit more and possibly make it a little bit different. In some ways, some of the stretch goals were born out of that. For example, I removed from the core rules the fact that we had backgrounds, example backgrounds for the characters, because there were 6 of them for each culture, so they were very fixed. And I thought that they were limiting rather than enabling people to create their own. And so we came up with a system that was more abstract, but still giving you the same information, gameplay information, but with less frills. But then people said, oh, but we like that. We like the backgrounds. And that led to me, Martin, and Thomas discussing the stretch goals and say, well, life paths or something like that. So giving the possibility of players to create random or semi-random backgrounds will be a good thing. And I said, yes, because of course they could complement the fact that we removed them. So they're back again in the form of life paths. And that's just one example. There are many things in a game design. Games are big structures made of many different components. You try to have the least number of components, because you don't want a monster of a game made of 1,000 different parts. But sometimes removing too many of them is not a good thing, because you lose flavor. Sometimes you can instead polish stuff to perfection, or almost. And so we've been doing that all the time, trying to find, creases and things and corners that could be smoothed out. And we will do that until we get the game to the players. And even after that, because when we will start getting more information from people playing the game, an open playtest, because when you make a closed playtest, the number of games you play is minimal compared to the games that people will play when the game is out. So when we give we will give the actual beta text to the players, we will get much more feedback, and we will try to be ready to filter that and then eventually take into consideration. We don't expect to change much after the beta testing, because the game has been out for 10 years. So the changes that we did were not simply for the sake of changing something, were made because we felt there were things to solve. But still, we will we will keep working on filing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's impossible to stop. It's just
What's the biggest difference? Yeah, what's the biggest difference between the first and second edition? Or is it like that you shape it up and you change a bit?
Well, I don't know if Martin has something from an outside point of view. I mean, having read the drafts of the game, if there's something that stands out.
I think if you look at some of the larger structures that have changed, I think the journeys and the councils are the ones that have changed, not completely, of course, but have changed from a mechanics perspective. Have changed maybe the most, even though the underlying concepts are the same. But those are kind of, they're a bit of a subset of the larger core mechanism, whereas the core is still mostly the same. I guess it's mostly about how you calculate your target number through your attributes, which is also it's not a big change really, but it's one of those. I think for newer or rather for old players who read the second edition rules will stand out a bit more. Like, oh, okay, they done it like this. Oh, I see. So, but still, I mean, if you play the first edition, 90% will be very familiar. It'll just be like moved around a little bit, made a little bit smoother here and there. So yeah, it's still the One Ring.
Cool. There were also a question in the chat somewhere. Someone wrote in caps lock, like, where do we get the artwork? Can we get the physical artwork? I'm looking at Martin here, or is it a later maybe answer on that question?
Well, it's the same. We need to make sure we produce what we can produce. Of course, we do have the art collection in PDF form during the Kickstarter, but we'll have to put some game content in the art book maybe, or something like that. We'll see what we can figure out.
Cool. Doug,
I was just having a look at. We are 12 minutes away from the end.
We are. We'll do it. We'll do a 10-minute check-in just to see. We're so close to 17 million krona.
Yeah.
Like that's.
I think no. It's just 69,999. No.
Yeah. We're just barely underneath the 17 million. Oh, wait a minute.
17 million.
Here, let's not wait until we won't wait till the 10-minute. Let's just share it on the screen. Let's bring it up. So I don't know if you can see that. Oh, it just passed.
Yeah,
we did it. 17 million krona. That's crazy.
Oh my God.
I need to drink again.
Wow.
And also I love this chat because everybody is so happy, and we're reading the chat as we talk.
Yes, me too.
Yeah. Woohoo.
Yes, thank you so much to everybody that is in here. It's just amazing to see the enthusiasm for.
Yeah.
You know, you this is rarely do you see this much enthusiasm for a Kickstarter. Like this is something very, very special.
Yeah,
Do you think there's a way to show you something, because we got very, very, I mean, just a few
there should
hours
be,
ago another piece of artwork that would be nice to show.
Do you want to screen share it? You should be able to screen share it.
Can you do that?
Yeah, I can show you something.
Okay. Yeah, why don't you, Martin, you throw it up there, and I'll add it to the screen.
Yeah.
Okay. 10 minutes still, and we get like exclusive material here in our
Look at that.
Yep. Exactly.
Woohoo! Should I keep talking while you do the tech thingies?
Matthew says Matthew from the Effect Podcast, and Matthew and Dave are big supporters of all things that we do here at Freely Publishing. And if you haven't checked them out on your podcast platform, go search for Effect Podcast. But this is 10 minutes to get to the Swedish krona. What is it?
To get to the biggest Kickstarter for role-playing games ever.
Yeah, ever.
9 minutes, it's hard. It's hard.
All right, here we go. Drum roll for this art. Look at that.
Oh, yes.
There we go.
Oh.
It's like where it all begins. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. That's straight from the desk of Alvaro Tapia. And I like that there's an amount of stuff hidden in there, symbols and stuff that is really for the Tolkien fans to dig and really explore.
And again, Alvaro, he's like cooped up in a little cabin in the north of Sweden, just like isolated. We're all isolated from the world right now, but he's like even more to just totally focus on drawing and creating Middle Earth at this point. So yeah, we're getting like bits and pieces from him, and I think maybe next week or so we'll get a big load.
Yeah, that's again. This is still a work in progress. Alvaro wants to point this out. Probably nobody would ever said that, but anyway. It's interesting that he gave me a couple of annotations that basically the window that you see there is shaped in the form of a Feanorian symbol, the heraldic symbol for Feanor, and that's because Alvaro said that possibly hobbits may have caught up some symbolism from the elves when they were living in Dúnedain, close to the land, close to Moria, and so on. So and I think that also the writing means something there, but not a Tolkien languages expert. So
yeah, I'm sure that Discord will be all over it. They'll be translating this in minutes.
Yeah. I love the fact that you can see Gandalf's eyebrows sticking out from the brim of his hat.
I was trying to find someone. Yeah, there we go, right there.
Exactly. Yeah, Jacob is right. Gandalf's eyebrows are canon.
That's great.
The Hobbit Tolkien says that his eyebrows stick out from the brow of his hat.
Which is interesting because either he has quite a small hat or he has very large eyebrows, and you can kind of make your own interpretation, which I think Alvaro is like the ground here.
Yes. It's an amazing piece, and I'm very happy that we could show this before pulling the plug.
5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, so Martin, your life is now, so next week you will get about 20 images like this and be like, yeah, these are good, we can put this in this place. Sorry?
I'll get 100 or so. Because Alvaro, the way he's been working on this project, normally we try to, when working with illustrators, we try to have them work like one chapter at a time or one section at a time. But Alvaro, he's been wanting to like do the groundwork for the entire work, basically, to like sketch everything out to make sure that if he draws an elf in one picture, it'll look the same. It'll have the same style of clothing as it would in picture 100. So he doesn't want to like finish one picture and then go over and on picture 100 get a lot of like ideas like, oh no, I should have done it this way. So he's been trying to make all of them at the same time, like which has made it like, which is why we haven't really got any finished pictures until this week basically. But now it's like the avalanche has finally hit, so we're gonna like get like pummeled by loads and loads of pictures from our world. Of course, we'll share as many as we can with you guys.
Also, it could be nice to eventually do something like an exploration of the concept work that Alvaro made, because I mean he went to a level of research that is amazing. I mean, he's been drawing stuff that will be never used in the game. He just did it because he needed to have an idea of stuff like carvings done by elves, the Elves of Eriador, showing, for example, Sauron in his bringer of gifts image when he was charming the elves and seducing them into creating the elven rings. So he has done all this stuff that we might never publish because they're sketches, but that look like something out of an amazing movie, something that we really hope we can show in one form or another.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah. So now it's only 5 minutes left.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we've got 5 minutes. Should we, let's...
3 minutes.
It looks like there's still quite a few people who are like jumping on board in the last few minutes.
Last few minutes.
We'd love to have you.
Absolutely. And I love, there was a comment earlier that someone changed their pledge from the standard edition to the deluxe edition last minute, and that's
because of the peer pressure, you know.
Yeah, because no pressure. We got 3 minutes. I'll leave the graphic up for this 3 minutes. So yeah, it's quite amazing. I just I love it so much that there's. The chat, it's hard. Usually these sessions, it's easy to keep the chat and keep an eye on the chat, but there's just they just keep coming. People are just so excited for this, and it's so amazing. I love it.
Yeah, I can also. There was someone who asked about Gen Con if we were going to be there, and of course,
yes.
Not even the elves know if Gen Con 2021 will happen. The elves are hoping, as the event manager who's waiting for emails, but. If, of course, we will try to be everywhere we can, when we can, we will travel. But yeah, so it's safe for our creators, so I'm not sending people over the ocean and they become sick or something. So we'll see where we end up. But of course, we're big fans of Gen Con and we hope to meet our fans next time we can.
We're peer pressuring more than just one person. It looks like there's a few folks that
okay.
Thank you.
You poor guys. Thank you.
I love it how they are using the dragon sickness term to tell how they fell into pledging more for the game in Tolkienian style with the dragon sickness. Hopefully we won't be so evil that we really have to be considered seducing them with corruption. Okay, so just a few seconds to go.
So we've got a few seconds to go.
16,577 backers.
Look at that.
80.
Yeah.
This is cool.
I see Hobbit Tales is coming up in chat, and yeah, I mean Hobbit Tales, which is a card game that Francesco and Marco, I think, together with Marco, right, made.
Yeah.
Which is again, yeah, that would be fun to make a new edition. We just need to have enough art for it, basically.
Yes.
But yeah,
I would love to see that be in production again. I think that the game is just good fun with hobbits telling stories in an inn in front of a pint, So yeah, I think that we will have enough art. I think
Yeah, sooner or later. I mean, we will for sure.
You have this guy in this cottage in the north of Sweden who's just drawing.
Yes, Alvaro.
Yes.
Yeah, 47, 46.
Ah, yeah. God, this is more exciting.
Are we going to cross 1660 or 16,600 backers? That's the question. Can we pick up 14
more in 30 seconds?
14 more backers before no.
We just we
12.
No. Maybe 2 more, but I think we're all very happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are we going to make the New Year's Eve thing? Counting down?
Yeah, we can 10, 9, 8,
7, 6,
5,
4, 3, 2,
1.
0.
All right.
They're still. I don't. Oh, they're still coming in. It's still coming in.
Yeah,
even after the fact. It's,
Yeah.
Oh, now
there we go.
Okay.
Oh,
I forgot
really?
to make a
So
snapshot.
17 million.
Yeah.
68,400 Swedish krona. That's just thank you everyone that thank you so much for your support. Of course, this is not the end of anything.
It's
This is just the beginning.
Just the beginning. Yeah.
And we're so excited that you have faith in us and that you are excited about this. Is there anything that both of you would like to say to the folks that made this all possible? Because this is just a very momentous event for not only the brand, but for the company, but for you as well. And yeah, I think if you'd like to say something, feel free.
Well, I have to say that I absolutely want to say thank you to everyone involved, from the company to the fans, and I have to talk. On behalf of myself and Marco Maggi, my co-designer. We've been living with this game for so long, and having reached this point is just incredible to have reached this point with so much appreciation from the fans. It's beyond belief. So we will again go back to work tomorrow with just a huge boost for our passion, and we will of course do as much as we can to fulfill every promise that we made, but that's beyond any doubt that we will do that. I'm sure that I can thank you. I have to thank the people that have been closest to us, from family to collaborators. And in particular, I have to say thank you to Michele Garbuggio, who also was a fan first, and then a collaborator of the game, that has worked very hard because he just loves the game. I think we might have given something back to him because he's working with us with Simon also. So I think he's happy. But James Spann, who did a fantastic job on the starter set. Starter sets are not easy to do. I think we have something special with that because we are offering a whole different flavor with the starter set, still remaining in the One Ring. And Alvaro Tapia for the work he's doing for the art, Martin Grip and Thomas for actually allowing us to work with Free League, because I was the one that came to him to say, how about with the One Ring? I think he doesn't regret the choice, but still, I'm grateful he said yes. And Martin was on board immediately when I proposed the idea, because and Niels also, still from the company, Niels Carlen. And so fantastic. It's I feel that we are beginning a journey that is with the best with the best possible company that we could have. We have every role covered. If we're talking about the game, we have a guide, we have scouts, there we have lookout men, we have hunters, we have everything. So we're set to go a long distance.
Yeah, we're set for the journey ahead for sure.
Yes.
Absolutely. Martin, you've got some work to do, I guess, on the Free League side of things. Are you excited about what's all this work that's headed your way?
Yeah, it's like, like Francesco was talking about earlier, how he's been living with Lord of the Rings as like in his head for so many years. I haven't been working with it for that long, but it has been living in my head for many, many, many years, and it's always been. I can feel myself going in waves when you find your interest like waning or growing in different franchises or whatever you might be interested in. But Lord of the Rings and Tolkien has always been on a constant high level of engagement. It's like I can always just go back to it and be immediately excited for everything. So it's just so again gratifying to work with something that I know I won't ever get tired of. So we'll be here for the long run.
Very good. Let's go back over to the chat. The chat was definitely hopping as the moments were everybody's saying congratulations. Thank you so much. Are there any stats about how many backers in each country? I know that there is. I don't know. Do you have access to that, Martin, available real quick? Or
yes, we can see that somewhere. Let's see if we can.
That's always really interesting information. I always like to look at.
Yeah, I'm seeing that we have 7,700 backers from the US. So this means that about almost 10,000 are from other countries around the world. And the rest is quite distributed. I see the second country is Great Britain, and then Sweden, third place. We have also a good representation of Italians. But one thing I like is that we have about 10% of the backers are new backers. They never backed any project on Kickstarter, and that's usually a good percentage. I mean, generally you just have veteran people that already had Kickstarters, 10% of new ones.
Yeah, there have been quite a few questions about how Kickstarter works and how the game works and what is a role-playing game. It was always it's a joy to answer that question because there's someone who kind of new to this, so will experience with it for the first time. And it's just we work for the veterans, for the great fans, but also just to bring in new people and tell them just check this out, because we know they're gonna love it. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I'm also loving the chat when people say where they're from. You almost get this convention feeling that you're going into this room and all the world, and they're so exciting. And I'm like, So thank you for that chat.
I will tell folks that if this is the first time that you've backed anything on Kickstarter, speaking as someone that loves Kickstarter and hasn't always been, behind the scenes here at Free League. I was a Free League backer on Kickstarter before I started doing all this, and Free League is one of those companies that does Kickstarter very, very well, and they keep in constant communication with their backers. You get frequent updates, and I'll remind folks that if you want to keep up to date with things, follow us on social media, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. But there will be Kickstarter updates. It's some Kickstarter campaigns you back and you don't hear anything for months, and it's you get wondering what's going on. But Free League does a great job of communicating with their backers, and we really hope if you're a first-time Kickstarter backer that this will be a great experience, great first experience for you, because I think that's important, and I think that Free League has a great track record of that. We'll
take care of you.
That's right. Look at Canada is joining us. Mexico. Look at thank you so much, everyone, for coming on and being a part of this. Is there anything else you would like to add before we sign off?
I think we should give the last word to Francesco.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh well, I wanted to thank you, Doug and Anna, also because I mean it was you were instrumental in making this really fun. I mean our previous chat, the question and answer, and then you had more with Martin, and this countdown was just brilliant. It really made us put us in connection with the fans, and made the whole Kickstarter thing worth it. We discussed this before. I think that it wasn't always sure that we were going through Kickstarter for the game, but it was very much the right call to do it. Also because of this, the game was absent for such a long time since first edition that probably we needed to re-establish a connection with the old fans, and of course to make new connections with the new fans. So that was absolutely the best way to go, much better than a regular pre-order, for example. We could have done that, but we would have lacked this with direct connection with the people that is going, and might have also made the difference between a successful project and a hugely successful one like this one. But I really don't. I think that, I don't know, we were lucky not to make mistakes or and just push the right buttons. So yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, really.
Thank you.
I'll remind folks that if you enjoyed the session, please hit the like button down below. Please hit that subscribe button if you would like to stay up to date with all things Free League. We really appreciate our YouTube community. It's growing tremendously fast, and we really appreciate that. And we found that this is a great way to keep in constant contact with the folks that love our projects. And so if you want to stay up to date with all things, make sure to hit that little that subscribe button, that little bell notification that alerts you every single time. Also, we'll have more content. I'm hoping with all these folks here in the future, especially leading up to the release. So hopefully we can have you all back on and
count on it.
love to chat about the future plans for this line and how the production and everything in the release is coming along. So
yeah, we'll be back.
Yeah.
Great. So now sleep and then work and then be back.
Yes. Absolutely. All right, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been the Kickstarter countdown for the One Ring.
Good night.